So today let us see one more new tool, that is Log4J. So before we go to this Log4J tool, let us understand what is the meaning of logging. Logging is the process of writing log messages. Log messages. Logging is what? It's for process of writing the log messages during the execution of program. During the execution of program to a central location. So once we create the project, for example, we are having a project in the server. So we are having what? Your application is running in the server. Means our application is running in the server means we have done the deployment and it is under production. It is under what? Production. Now from client, we are going to get the request to your application. So whenever the request is coming to the application, we have to maintain some log messages during the execution of program. So what are the log messages it is generating, like login successful or login failure, or you may get some other information messages, or you may get some warning messages, or you may get some exceptions. Those are all things we should record into a location. So where we store all our log file, we are going to have a log file. In this log file, we are going to place the messages here. So the messages can be a information message like login successful, or it can be some exceptions, or it can be any error related or fatal errors like due to some network failure, the application is not running. All those information we have to maintain in the log file, right? Then who has to take care of this? We'll be writing the code. So we'll be writing the code. So by using the code, we are going to write the log messages into the log file. Then the client will be getting the response. So during the production time, I want to write the log messages of execution of your program into a central location. So central location means it's also a one server where we keep all log messages. So any developer, they can check these log messages. So that is the main use of going for logging process. Clear all of you the need of logging process? Right? Flow of execution of your application, what mistakes are happening, whether the application is running successfully or not, whether the user are able to log in into the application properly or not. Such type of messages we are going to store using logging. Then, logging allows to report and persist error. So why that error is coming, and warning info messages, persist error or warning info messages, some information messages, so that we can retrieve and analyze why that message is coming, why that error message is coming, why that warning message is coming. We can analyze the messages at the later point of time. Logging is used to understand the exceptions. So what is the main use of going with logging? Logging is used to understand the exceptions in the application which are deployed in the server, during production time. Right? So what exceptions are generating when the application is running To understand those exceptions, we are going to make use of this logging concept. Now, so logging is what? Simply messages only. So using system.out.println also we can go with the messages. Like example, when we are using this system.out.println, like example, if we take a class like log messages, where we go with a method like generate log messages. Then here by using system.out.println also we can generate the messages like method started, and we go with some business logic here. And we can say NSPOP method ended. So these only we call log messages. So by using system.out.println also we can display the messages onto the console screen. But what is the problem with system.out.println? It is temporary. It is for temporary. So to store messages permanently, we are going to make use of this Log4j framework. So when we go with system.out.println, using system.out.println, the messages are printed on console. So what is these are temporary messages. These are all what temporary messages. And formatting the message will also be difficult when you go with system.out.println. Then to store the messages, or you can say log messages permanently, we can use Log4j framework. So to manage the logging, which framework we can use? Log4j framework. Okay. So what is this Log4j is? Log4j is an open source framework. Provided by Apache for Java projects. It's mainly for Java projects. So who has given this Log4j framework to us? It has given by Apache company to us. Apache Log4j is a Java based logging utility. It's a Java based logging utility. In this Log4j, it goes with the components of Log4j. So it goes with three components. They are logits, appendix, then layouts. So in Log4j, it goes with the three components. What they are? Logits, appendix, and layouts. The use of going with this logits is responsible for capturing logging information. So logits are mainly for what purpose? They are responsible for capturing logging information. Then appendix. The use of going with appendix is responsible for publishing logging information to various destinations. Responsible for publishing logging information to various destinations. Then, here it goes with the destinations, like it is having the appendix like file appender. So when you go with file appender, what is the use of this file appender is write data to a log file. So generally we give the extension like example like app.log like this. So we give the extension to a log file like app.log. So whatever the logging information we are getting, logging messages what you are getting, that I want to store in a destination. That destination can be a file. So for that we are going to use file appender. It can be a console appender also. Console means the messages are displayed on the console screen. So what it is going to do? Prints data onto the console. We are having even JDBC appender also. JDBC appender. So maximum people won't use JDBC. People maximum use file appender and console appenders. Okay. So what is the use of JDBC appender is stores messages on database tables. So whatever the log messages we are getting, if I want to store it in database tables, we go for JDBC appender. Okay. And in our case, we can have multiple appenders also. In our application, we can have multiple appenders. We can have multiple appenders. Means we can even go with file appender as well as console appender also. What is the use of appenders? Responsible, whatever the log messages we are getting, where you want to store that information, whether you want to display only on the console or whether you want to store that information onto a log file. So that is the role of played by appenders. The layouts. The use of layouts is responsible for formatting the logging information. Responsible for formatting the login information in different styles. Right? So these are the three components present in Log4j. What they are? Loggers, appenders, and layouts. Right? Yeah. Now, so in order to work with this Log4j, so we are going to make use of logger class. And before we go to that, let us understand about logging levels. This is important. Logging levels. So we are having the logging levels like fatal, error, var, info, debug, and trace. Fatal, error, var, info, debug, and trace. These are the levels here. So when you go with this fatal, it is mainly related to, these are mainly related to database connection, whether the database connection has closed or any network related issues, server not connected. Those all things are type of errors. We call it as fatal errors. So what is this fatal errors? Database connection closed, okay, or network related issues, or it may be server not connected like this. So this type of issues we call it as fatal errors. The next one is error. So the use of going with error is to give details about exception. So exception related things comes under which level? Error. Then warn. So warn is like something like application related messages. Application related messages. So this warning, so it's ignorable. These warning messages are what? Ignorable. Like using, like example, using unnecessary variables. Using unnecessary variables or connections like this. Okay. So you are declaring a variable but not using that variable. You are getting a connection to your file but not using that connection. Such type of things comes in the warn messages. Info messages. Info messages are like simple current execution of flow messages. Current execution of flow messages. Like example, login success. Okay, login success. Method started, like this. Method ended. This type of simple information messages that we call it as info. Debug. Debug is mainly to print final result of application. To print the final information of application, we go for debug. Then trace. Trace is mainly use it when one application is communicating to other application. So to find the messages from different applications, we go for trace. To find the messages from multiple applications. From multiple applications, we go for trace. So these are the logging levels. What they are? Fatal, error, warn, info, debug, and trace. So based on the level, we can know what type of message it is displaying for us. The message is related to what type of application. Now, let us understand all this, how to work with this Log4j. Let us understand with the example application. You can simply say Log4j in Spring Boot application. Using Log4j in Spring Boot application. Now, for this, let us create one Spring Starter project. Creating Spring Starter project in STS. Go with the name Log4j project. Then type Maven, Java version 17. Then group com.raj take some group. Then artifact, it takes a name. Package, some package. Click next. Add Spring Web as Spring Web as project dependency and click finish. Let us do this step now. Open Spring Tool Suite. Here create a Spring Starter project. Let us go with the name Log4j project. Then type Maven, Java version 17, group com.rajtech. Artifact, it takes the name. Then package com.rajtech, some package details. Now click on next. Here we are going to add Spring Web. We are going to add what here? Spring Web, and click on finish. Once the project is created, understand carefully. Here we need to add a Log4j libraries. So we need to add Log4j libraries, the dependency in pym.xml file. So when you take this pym.xml file, your Spring Boot comes with logging, implicit logging. Your Spring Boot comes with what? implicit logging called as logback. Your Spring Boot comes with what? Implicit logging called as what here? Logback. So how to check that? You can see here dependencies. If you click here, the tab dependencies here. Spring Boot starter web. Dependency hierarchy, not dependency hierarchy. We need to choose this one. Dependency hierarchy. Under dependency hierarchy, you can see a Spring Boot starter web. Under that, you can see a Spring Boot starter logging. It's automatically coming here. Spring Boot starter logging. Okay. So whenever we add Spring Web now, automatically it comes with logging, and that implicit logging in Spring Boot we call it as logback. But here in our case we want to go with Log4J. So since implicitly it is coming logging here, I need to exclude this. How to exclude is we have to right click on this and say exclude Maven artifact. What we have to see here is exclude Maven artifact. Then say OK here. That's it. Now see in your pym.xml file, see here. You can see it, see. So under this dependency, Spring Boot starter web, see it has done the exclusions. Which one it has excluded now? Spring Boot starter logging. This has been excluded now. Now your Spring Boot application is not with logging now. Now I want to include which logging framework now? We want to go with Log4j. So in order to go with Log4j, we have to add the dependency. What is that? Spring Boot starter Log4j. Spring Boot starter Log4j. It's not showing from .springboot. Let me do it explicitly. Dependency. Here we are going with group ID org.springframework.boot. The artifact ID will say Spring Boot starter Log4j. Right. So this we need to add here. So which dependency we are adding? This one. Okay. Spring Boot starter Log4j2. Log4j2. So this dependency we need to add. Let me provide these details. Add the following dependency in pym.xml file. So how to exclude our previous dependency? This one. You can even remember this. Let me give both the codes so that we can have, you can even simply do the copy and paste. Okay. So we are excluding your logging from your Spring Boot and we are adding our Log4j dependency. Okay. So I've given the complete code to you. Just you can copy from here. There. Now let us move to the next one. Create a REST controller class create a REST controller class. Let me go with order controller in com.rajtech package of src main Java folder. Under src main Java, you can see the package. Right click on package and say new class. Let me go with the name order controller. Order controller. So finish. Now, how to mark it as a REST controller class? We have to say here @REST controller. @REST controller. Now, so to enter into this class, we'll say @request mapping. We'll say order. Now, in this class, let us create one method, public string get payment info. So to enter into this method, we'll go with get mapping. We'll say here get payment info. Here we are going to return some message, payment info, information fetched successfully, some information. Now, for this one, I want to apply some logging. So how to apply log messages over here? I want to apply logging for this controller class. Means how to apply logging messages is in this class, we have to go with a property that is provide static final. This is our log4j code here. Public private static final logger equal to log manager dot get logger. Okay, so which method we are calling? We are creating object of logger equal to log manager dot get logger. Then to this we need to pass our class order controller dot class. Means we are applying logging on this class. On this logger order controller class, we are applying the logging. Now import the package for logger. Now once we create this logger object, our next step is by using this logger, we can provide the messages here like this. Here you can say logger dot debug. Logger dot debug. So here we'll go with a message like debug log message. Some message. It depends on your application. You can provide any message. Debug log message. You can go with logger dot info. Logger dot info will say info log message. Let me copy this. Next one, we are having like error. These are all the methods present in this logging. The levels we discussed on the levels, which even we call it as priority methods. So error log message. Next we are having like warn log message. Then we are having pattern log message. Then we are having trace log message. Some information, whatever the message you want to display, that you can handle over here. So based on the priority of your message, we have to provide that, whether it may be debug or info or error or warn or fatal or trace. So what they are, have given the provider the details here. So based on this, we have to provide the levels here. So for that, we have to invoke the respective methods here. Now, once we provide this, now where this message is to be displayed. So whatever we have done only with what now? We have done with this loggers. Responsible for capturing logging information. Just we are, this logger is what? It's mainly for responsible for capturing the information. Only we have done this first one, loggers. Next, what we have to do? We have to go with this appendix. So what is this appendix? Responsible for publishing logging information, where you want to display that log messages. Whether you want to display that log message on your console screen, whether you want to display that log message on your, or whether you want to write that log message dot onto your log file. That is which we call file appender. Okay. Then we have to even go with this what layouts. So layouts is for mainly for what purpose? In which format you want to display that log messages. That is the use of layouts. So these two we have to configure now. So where we are going to do this configuration? We are going to do this configuration in a file called as a log4j to XML file. So where we have to do this appendix and layouts, we have to configure in a XML file. Let me provide the code here only. I'm providing the code here only for your reference. You can copy from here and use it. Our next step is create a XML file. Let me go with the name log4j. Compulsory we have to use this one only. log4j2.xml to means the version. In src main resources folder. So where we have to create this file? In src main resources folder. log4j2.xml. Yeah. Let me create this file. This is the main important file for log4j. Where we have to create under src main resources, create a new XML file. Go with the name log4j2.xml. So take here XML version 1.0 encoding UTF-8. Here we have to start with the tag configuration. Then under this configuration, we have to provide the status. And provide the status like simple information. We'll say here info. Then under this configuration, it goes with a sub-element called as appender. I said no, appender. This is very important. So what appender is going to provide? What appender is going to provide? Responsible for publishing login information. So whether you want to go with console appender or file appender. So that information we have to provide here. So in appender, we'll say console name equal to console log. Console name equal to console log. Target. So when you go with console, the target is what we'll be using system out. Means I want to just display the log messages on your console screen. So that is the meaning of this console tag. So how we are going to display that? Using system out. Then in which pattern you want to display? Pattern layout. I said no, the next important one. What is our next one? Layouts. So in which format you want to display that log messages? That is the meaning of pattern layout. So pattern layout, pattern equal to so you can go with a pattern. Say like this pattern. Which pattern you want today? Percentage D. Percentage D means the date and time. It's going to display the date and time. Then hyphen percentage C. Percentage C means it is going to print the class name. It's going to print the class name. Then percentage M. Capital M indicates it is the method name. Then hyphen percentage P. Hyphen percentage P. So what is this percentage P is? It is a priority, like whether it is debug or warn or info like that. Then next one, percentage M means the message what you want to display. Then percentage N means new line. Percentage N means what? New line. So this is the format of your message. This is what? The format of your message. So what are the formats here? What are the symbols? Okay, I'm writing down, or let me keep it in comments here in this info. Percentage D means date and time. Percentage C means capital C. It's going to print the class name. Percentage capital M is method name. Percentage M small m is the message. Percentage P is priority. Priority means like example warn or info or error like this. Then percentage N means new line, to go to the new line, right? So these are the formatting values. These are the patterns what we are having. So I'm keeping this one in comments for your reference. Then once we provide the pattern using layout, we are providing the pattern. The next thing we have to go with the loggers. Loggers. Here we have to say here root level equal to, here we have to provide the log level. So what are the log level we are having? Like info. I'm going with the log level info. Then here we have to say append reference. So what is the reference here? Console log. This one. So we have to refer append the reference this one. We have to refer to this console name. Okay. And what is the level of your logging? Info. That's it. Now, once we do this step, our next step is we have to run the project. Right click and say run as Spring Boot app. Here, what is the information it is displaying now? These are all things, so we call it as what? Log messages only. These are all things we call it as log messages. Okay, see the process, like see the date, and in main method we are getting error processing element appender like that. Okay. It's going with some exceptions. Let me check here. http://localhost://8080/order/get payment information. Yeah. So we are getting the payment information fetched successfully. It is running our project, but not displaying any log messages. This may be capital case. It is appended. Not appended, appended it is. Let us stop and run the project again. Right click and say run as Spring Boot app. See. So now it's working. Now let us make a request here. So when you make a request, we are getting the information. But what about log messages? See here. Can you see the log messages? See here. This is our date and time. Okay. And this is our class name, the method name, See the patterns here. First we are getting C, the date and time, and next percentage C is our class name, percentage M is our method name. How you are displaying? In square brackets. So this is our method name. The pattern like this one, like which priority level. So it's going with what? Info. The priority level info, because here I've configured level as what here? Info. So when you configure the level as info, understand? When you configure the level as info, so it is taking what's it? The remaining things, it is taking info, error, warn, and fatal. So that is the order here. Info, what is the order? It is taking info, error, warn, and fatal. Now, see the messages, what it is displaying? Info log message, error log message, warn log message, fatal log message. If I say here error, see what result it is going to display when you reload this page. What I've done, I've taken error. So it is taking from error only. Error, warn, fatal. So this is the levels here. If I go with the next level, like warn. So if I go with the next level like warn, then once we reload this page, now see, it is going to take only warn and fatal. So the order is what here? The order is info. When I make here info, then it's going to show the information message, error message, warn message, and fatal message. If I take it only warn, then it's going to take error, warn like this. So the order, it's going to follow the order here, the log levels. So you can check here in Google. If you check log4j levels order. What is the orders here? First it goes with the trace, debug, info, warn, error, fatal. This is the order here. Fatal, error, warn, info, debug, trace. Fatal. Next one is error. Next one is warn. Next one is info. Next order is debug. Next order is trace. So this is the order, right? Now check it here. When you say here, when you say the level as fatal, I'm clearing the screen. Now, when I'm saying fatal, now see when you hit the request, whenever you make a request, see what you are getting. See, fatal means what you are getting: info, error, warn, and fatal. When you say here, error, when you say error, see what you are going to get. I'm clearing the screen. There. Now I'm making the request again. See what you are getting: info, error, warn, and fatal. So even it is taking the info also. Now, if I take here debug, if I take debug, then now if I make a request, then see we are getting same debug is not coming. Debug is not coming. Let me see only one. Let me terminate. I'm not terminating. Now let us run the project again. Now let me clear this. Now let us make a request. Now see here. So when I say warn, it is coming, see error, warn, and fatal. So it is going to follow the priority levels here. Okay. Now, whatever the log messages it is displaying, where it is displaying on our console. But I want to store these log messages where into a file. We want to store these log messages where into a file. Then here we can go with what? Instead of console, we can go with file here. File appender, which we call it as file appender. File. The name of this appender is file log, capital F here. File log. Then we have to store our data where in a file name. So I'm going with a file name like logs. I want to create a folder logs. Then application.log. So what is the name of the log file here? Application.log, which is going to be created in logs folder. Now same. I can take the same pattern. In this loggers, we need to add here. So append a reference file log. Append a reference, I'm saying file log. That's it. Now, what are the log messages we are getting? That even displays on our console screen, and that messages even will get added to a application.log file. Now, let us terminate this. Then run the project again. Saying only one route. Okay. Append a reference file log. There are only one route. Now, run the project again. Now let me clear this. Now make a request. Now see here. So we are getting the information now. So it's even going to create a file called as logs. Here, where is that? folder is not creating. Let me check here. Not creating the file for us. Let me remove this. Make a request. Check we are getting the messages. Here. Now you can see the folder say logs folder. Now, if you open this logs folder, you can see application.log file and see all the logging information it is present in this log file. So what are the log information we are getting now? It is generating. Those all details will be stored in what file? Application.log file. So whenever you want to go with the file appender, what we have to use here? File name, file log, any name. The name can be anything. And where is the location of your file? I want to create a folder logs. Under that, I want to create a file called as application.log. So the layout, I'm taking the same layout. So this layout is displayed where? Onto this file. So now this is permanent. Console is for temporary and application.log is for permanent. So whenever you want to store the log messages permanently, we are going to make use of what? File appender. We are going to make use of file appender. Clear all of you? Right?
Yes, Raj.
So this is the code I'm giving for your reference. Okay. Then run the project as Spring Boot app. Open browser and type the following URL. Or you can even use Postman also. http://8080/order/get payment info. This is the URL. Okay. Or you can even use Postman also. Postman to see the log messages. Right? So please practice this. So when you are working with projects now, we'll be making use of this. Like just whenever we are writing the code, don't apply this logging for entity classes or DO classes. Okay, we have to apply this logging mainly for controller classes and service classes. So whether it has entered into the method properly or not, whether the login has become success or not, these all messages we can provide to the user. Okay, so mainly when you go with banking application, no, they'll be maintaining a log messages like at what time you have logged in, what information you click it, whether you are looking for loans. So whenever you are looking for loans, immediately a log messages will be generated and there will be one employee who is going to see that log messages. So based on your user, immediately you are going to get a call here. If you cancel that loan request now, immediately we are going to get a call from bank that are you looking for loan? Any help is required. So these all things are managed with logging only. Got it? The real example where we use logging. Right? So please have a practice on this. And tomorrow we go with one more new tool, that is JMeter, which is mainly for performance testing. So when you want to test the performance of your application, we are going to make use of a tool called as JMeter that we'll be discussing in tomorrow's class. Okay. So complete code I've pasted in the document only. So using this document, you can work with this application. Okay. Right. Thank you all. Thank you very much and see you tomorrow. Thank you all.